All right, let's go complete our awesome
Doubt
weapon.
sunk in before he was even
And then
out of sight of
before
the
a bunch of
Farfarer.
eggheads at the lab can
Why
tell
had
us
he
not to
chosen the
fire
Sky
it on
Ripper?
account of
It was the sort of
almost
path he'd always
100%
avoided.
assured
The path of
destruction of the
responsibility,
universe,
of seriousness.
will
Had
instead
he
go show the
grown up?
resistance what's up.
He didn't feel grown up. He'd made this decision from his gut, like he always did. Somehow, he'd impulsively decided to stop being impulsive. Did that make any sense?
I wonder if the Zenobia secret
There was something
is that she's a
sour
plant for the
in the air.
resistance. So if we go
Like the
there
earth had ruptured over something that had been
before
fermenting for a
we've
very
met with
long
her,
time.
the story alters. That would be kind of fun. Oh, I never switched off the... There we go.
Reynardo
I was wondering why
hoped
my
his
combos
corpse had been
didn't seem to
inspected.
kick out quite as fast as they had been. Oh my goodness. Why'd y'all even come out here?
There were fewer and fewer trees. There were only these huge crystalline growths. Had those been here before? He no longer heard birds except for the feverish cawing of the ravens when they attacked. He couldn't smell the small animals of the forest, the mice and rabbits. Where had they gone? And he was getting hungry too. This was an unhealthy place to be.
I don't know why I thought that fight was over. I just like let my combo drop. That was weird. I love how they just hit me with style acceptable over and over now, and it's like, come on, y'all. I'm a true
20-sided
sword
core
food
made him feel
master. Don't
physically
step to this.
sick. Once he had sneaked into a temple of the dark arts, and he hadn't liked what he smelt and saw there. This felt like he carried his prize back to the Farfarer. Now he had to make his next move. There was a key Imperial outpost on the Nexus. If this really was some sort of super weapon, he could use it to wreak havoc on the enemy. And if it wasn't, well, better to know that before the final battle. But maybe he should show it to some scientists first. There was an observatory on the Nexus. Maybe he should go there before he fired it.
We will outpost, friends. No time for fussing. Attack the outpost. The Sky Ripper was complete. The super weapon could put an end to the Emperor's madness. But would it work at the critical moment? Maybe it needed field testing, and the Imperial outpost on the Nexus was the perfect target.
Reynardo
You still
had
think I'm
never
slaying
been
out?
much of a
Oh, I got
student.
Matt on the one before that?
At Swordfu School, he'd never read the books, just looked at the pictures. And Zenobia.
The
But
there
weapons
was
he
unnecessary.
understood. His gut told him that the Sky Ripper would work great. He would use it to take out the Imperial outpost. And what's the worst that could happen? The thing wouldn't work, and then he'd take it to the scientists, right? Reynardo actually could think of a few things that were worse. But he would make sure they didn't happen this time. Right? Exactly.
I mean, that all lines up to me.
As he set out down the path, Reynardo wondered why the parts of the Sky Ripper had only surfaced now, thousands of years after the Transcendent Emperor had discarded it. This Emperor, Isengrim III, had performed terrible, bloodthirsty rituals to invoke the lost gods. Perhaps that was bringing up lost artifacts. How perfect, then, that the Sky Ripper would reappear to be his destruction. And hopefully this time, just his destruction.
We like that thought.
There were stickers all over the platform
Precision
for
strikes
really hot
with the
lady
Sky
horses,
Ripper.
with pictures and addresses and everything.
At least there's just the 4 sword doors, and it's not like, you know, we compared it to Skylanders last week, but that would have been what, like 15 freaking sword types? That would have been a bit much to juggle. I mean, I think it could have been neat, Schneider. I don't think it's like completely without merit. But I agree though. It would have been truly bonkers. I think there's a way you could do it that would be fun though. They would have to give you an easier way to switch between weapon types in combat. If you're going to introduce that many weapons from like a puzzle solving standpoint, what they would need to do is put like make like left trigger, right trigger sword modifiers instead, so that you could switch between your combos just by hitting buttons.
Maybe it was time to test out the new weapon.
Or open that treasure chest,
right? The Sky Ripper. It made strange mechanical noises. The wheels spun faster. It began to hum.
The Sky Ripper was following his every step. At least it acknowledged him as the master. But there was no trigger. How was he supposed to fire it? Fire, he said. Nothing happened. Well, maybe it just needed to warm up. After all, it hadn't been fired in thousands of years.
Yo, larger combats also, I agree, Schneider. That would have been very choice. Because I think that undoubtedly, right, the combat is the shining part of this game. And to be able to like really get, whoa, it's just melting dudes. Sky Ripper activated. It's not nearly as good as I am though. I think that would be a lot of fun to have a chance to do like 100 Raven fights.
And its wheels were spinning so fast he could no longer see them.
Reynardo had a thought. Please? He asked. The Sky Ripper began to glow. Boom! The outpost burst into flame.
Ravens flapped out screaming, wings on fire.
Jesus.
The base was his. The far speaker toad came hopping out. Reynardo! It croaked, sounding like a toad version of Zenobia.
Don't use the Sky Ripper. It will destroy the world.
Yeah, sure it will, cracked Reynardo. Pull the other one.
If you don't trust me, go see Calaveras.
That sounded sensible. Why did she always have to sound sensible all the time? Oh, it was infuriating.
Of course she would say that. He was supposed to hurry and bring the Sky Ripper to the council so the rebels could actually win the war. But what if she was right? Damn it.
Take the Sky Ripper to the rebels. The Sky Ripper turned out to be an amazing weapon. It was time to celebrate, but then Zenobia crashed the party. She claimed the Sky Ripper could destroy the world. Of course, she was lying. Probably. She was an enemy general, of course. She was an enemy general. Of course she would be afraid of the Sky Ripper. He should bring the weapon into the rebel base. Just win the war.
Just this once, he would not let Zenobia get into his head with her logic and her wisdom and her appeals to reason. He was a fox. He'd go with his instincts, and it would all work out like it always did. Oh, he was sounding like a reckless idiot, even to himself. But if there was one thing Reynardo could never bring himself to do, it was turn back on a decision he'd made. Imperials were flapping and cawing all around the ruins. They must be panicking with rumors flying of the superweapon. Maybe they hoped to find and destroy the base before he could put the Sky Ripper into action. The Sky Ripper was whining and heating up. It would be time to use that energy soon.
I like how it's not until the Sky Ripper shows in the narrative that we hear whispers of them like getting scared and
Reynardo
gossiping.
knew the raw power he
Surely
could be
they would already
molded
talk that way
into
about Reynardo.
greatness.
All right, an extra stamina charge. More damage on counterattack. I mean, I'll be honest, I don't know that any of these really matter at this point. Grab damage. Kick and throw distance is increased. Let's just grab an extra pip of stamina. I know I said I wanted the double upgrade on faster run speed, but I think this will be just as good.
That was awesome.
That was awesome. Thank you, Sky Ripper. We got that big meh style again. I don't know. I think when you fight and you bring an ancient super weapon of legend, do you think your combat performance ever gets a meh? I think that's maybe an auto upgrade scenario. I think that kind of creates a new floor.
He wondered if the council knew he destroyed the outpost. He hoped so. He was excited. With his superweapon, they could actually win their battle with the Imperial fleet.
God, he'd kill so many people to do it that way.
Talking about? This was a fantastic weapon. Ravens burst into flames with just a touch of its killer beam. He was tempted to leave it on all the time, but he didn't want to accidentally slice off some council toad's head or tongue. She'd been trying to distract him. Well, this time, no one was going to distract him.
This time he's gonna die if he's not paying attention. Trying to put an end to our meh combat ratings, and I wind up taking way more damage. This is what I get for letting the computer tell me if I'm doing a good combat job.
Just have a dash, thought Reynardo.
You just gotta believe in yourself, Reynardo. Don't worry about what the computer tells you. This this map set, when you get inside like that, gives me such big, like, Diablo catacombs underneath Tristram's
Didn't your mother
Grand
tell you it's
Cathedral
rude to
vibes.
stare? Snapped Reynardo, a little smug.
Almost got barbecued there. Yeah, it probably is inspired by, you're right. It's probably not by accident that it invokes that thought.
The long stairs. So he was close to the rebel base. Nothing was on fire. So far, so good.
Oops. Alright, we need some health back before I accidentally drop this one.
It was like having the world's deadliest bowman right by his side.
See, even the game is trying to talk about having some kind of an archer mechanic. Oh, I wanted to go get that treasure chest. That's like a compulsiveness thing. Oh, they're still gonna let me. Okay. There's zero need for me to go get this chest. And I cannot stop myself.
Reynardo remembered when the government had introduced the healing fruit. Some people said it was going to bankrupt the economy, but it seemed to work very well.
Alright. Activate. Oh boy. I forgot that shakes. The rumble on my controllers went haywire.
As he headed towards the council chamber, Reynardo felt everyone watching him.
You've saved the rebellion, said the council speaker. Frankly, we were afraid you'd turn aside to save that idiot Lapino.
Not bloody likely, Reynardo told them, feeling he was maybe being a bit harsh on the poor mad rabbit.
If you never make sacrifices, he said, you're probably not doing the right thing. The speaker nodded. Are you ready to lead the charge? Let's roll.
Yo, the council
he
speaker
said, with
got some
grim
trippy
satisfaction.
eyeballs.
Reynardo set sail for the fleet. The Sky Ripper had lost its wine. It was humming now, as if it had taken some time to seat properly. He had always been irresponsible. This time, he'd done the right thing, made the hard decisions. He was a real hero. He hadn't let himself be distracted by old friends or old lovers turned enemies. Finally, he could be proud of himself.
Oh snap. Alright, let's get it.
He was ready. So was Sky Ripper. The Sky Ripper had a
Chapter
will of its
5.
own.
Yes,
it
we
picked out
can.
its own targets and set them on fire.
This was going to be a
Did I
short
not get
battle.
a chance for that purple
He
door
would
that
set
we
the
saw in the
ships on
intro?
fire if he didn't need them to get to the Emperor. And he wondered if he'd see Zenobia, or if she'd flee. Wouldn't she be proud of him? At least, a bit of respect. He'd become an all-conquering hero.
Come on, Zenobia. Don't you remember when I killed your adoptive father and destroyed the combined military forces of your entire nation's military? Can't be a little impressed? No? Reynardo doesn't have a ton of game, does he?
He hadn't noticed that path before.
What? He's done it. Take me back to the main fight. We got fighting to do.
There was a
Why are there
parchment
so many
on a
skiffs?
signpost.
Ooh.
It was from her.
Every time you fire, you risk the destruction of the universe. That's insane. We surrender.
He'd done it. He'd played chicken with Zenobia and won. He could hear the horns blaring the retreat. She was wiser than he was, that was for sure. But wisdom didn't win battles.
It's not the greatest of morals to take from our plight. They really gonna let me walk the rest of the way without any conflict? Wait a minute, if you said you surrendered, why am I still fighting your birds? I don't know if Zenobia knows what surrender means. What did they teach us at Sword
For a
Food School?
moment, Reynardo wished that somebody had been watching.
Like, it would be really cool to start the previous combat and just chain it into this combat on this boat and keep your combo going. That would be a ton of fun.
These platforms were great. Reynardo wanted one for his house.
Yo, I would want one. Is his house the Farfarer? They haven't really talked about, like, the living situation. I would assume that we're like a dangerous sky pirate. Wait, so I can't get over to the thing that we've been doing. So we've got the old route, which I believe takes us face to face with the Emperor. No. Some backtracky boys. I wish that the shield, when you've got the level 3 shield breaker on, I wish instead of it just flinging backwards, would just get deflected into the nearest enemy. That would make that a lot more satisfying.
And there was Zenobia, wearing the white robes of surrender. She came and kneeled before him. Why didn't you listen to me? I was trying to save you too. You're the enemy, you said. I was never your enemy, Reynardo. Then she spoke a terrible word and made a gesture with her hand. She stopped moving, covered in frost, and he wondered why she'd frozen herself. Then the Sky Ripper froze, and then, for a moment, he felt very cold and discovered that he couldn't move. The next thing he knew, the sun was a giant, monstrously red. It took up half the sky, and he was in a parched red desert. And then he was on fire.
What?
He should go back to some of the choices he'd faced before. Maybe there were new paths that had opened up, like those doors he was opening up all over the map that took him to new treasures and around his enemies. But he'd learned
Another
true thing.
Zenobia still had feelings for him.
New story completed. Story number 7. Reynardo Newcomb. What kind of hero are you? A hero that does not let anything get in the way of his mission. 5 fire essence. We have our 4 truths. New truth revealed. Reward is 2 levels. So all 4 truths are unlocked. That's exciting to know.
The book's pages
We
fluttered
still
to the
don't
beginning
have what
once
I would
again.
consider
Faster than before,
the good ending,
and he
though.
fell.
Schneider,
The
what
clouds
path
parted
should I
over the
take
Isles
to
of
get us like a
Boreas.
really
It
solid
was time
ending?
to
Because I think we're going to
choose.
try and put this one to bed.
The rebellion was in trouble.